you to do is, I want you to draw this diagram again separately. Take a fresh sheet or a rough sheet and please draw the 4 important dates. If this is the orbit of the Earth, online you can also directly share this particular diagram after you draw it. 7382 552230. This is my contact number. ठीक है? And my name is MS Reddy, Madhusudan Reddy. ठीक है? So, number 1, please draw the sun and the 4 major positions of the Earth with respect to its seasons. I wanted to see the dark side of the sun, the dark side of the Earth and the sunlight side of the Earth. ठीक है? I have 4 dates. Number 1, first is your December 22nd or 23rd. Number 2, March 22nd, June 21st या 22nd, 4th September 21st या 22nd या 23rd. I wanted to know and see the Earth positions on these 4 days. ठीक है? Yes, yes. Pura, very good. Quickly. Please quickly, draw it quickly. How many of you have done? Online done? You can share it to my WhatsApp number as well. I'll right away look into it. प्लीज ऑल्सो मेंशन योर नेम. पुरव, वेरी गुड. कल वाला नोट्स मुझे नहीं शेयर करना है यार, अभी बनाना है. ठीक है पुरव? You simply click the photograph of yesterday and then shared it to me. Yes. Now you tell me, what is this position? If this is the dark side, ठीक है? Just imagine this is the dark side. Which month is this? Which month is this? If the sun rays is directly falling on Tropic of Capricorn. ये जो orange lines है ना, orange lines are Tropic of Capricorn. ठीक है? Orange is Tropic of Capricorn. pink is equator, and green is Tropic of Cancer, right? So आप बताओ, if the sun rays is directly falling on the Tropic of Capricorn, it is during which month? Date is December 22nd. That means what do you have here? Winter solstice, plus do you have winter in the northern hemisphere? में क्या है? Is it summer or winter? Do you have summer in the northern hemisphere or winter? You have winter. Southern hemisphere में summer. Now where do you see the longest day? The longest day, is it seen in the southern hemisphere or northern hemisphere? Southern hemisphere. So longest day and shortest night. So 24 hours sunlight कहाँ पर है? North pole or south pole? You have 24 hours sunlight in the south pole. 24 hours darkness, it is in north pole, right? So these conditions which you are looking here, don't you think that exactly opposite conditions will be there on the other side as well? So look here, this is north pole, no sunlight, but south pole, complete sunlight. The earth always rotates on its axis. So north pole and south pole is the poles which are passing through their axis, right? So what is this position? This is which date? In the month of, this is your June 22nd. So conditions बताओ जल्दी, quickly. Summer in northern hemisphere. Longest day कहाँ पर होगा? Longest day northern hemisphere. ठीक है? Shortest night कहाँ पर होगा? Northern hemisphere. ठीक है? Very good. Next, 24 hours day कहाँ पर होगा? North pole. 24 hours darkness, south pole. So here this is an equinox, right? Equinox means equal day and equal night. Length, ठीक है? Length. That means 12 hours darkness होगा. At any given point on the earth, it is 12 hours darkness and 12 hours sunlight. Right? Sun's rays directly fall where? Equator. So is this March equinox or September equinox? This is September 22nd. सबसे highest temperature कहाँ पर होगा? Here. Equator पे होगा. Right? सबसे highest temperatures even during the months of March, जो spring season बोला जाता है. ठीक है? Spring in the northern hemisphere. This is the month, right? So here highest temperature will be at the equator. 46, 47. इतना ज़्यादा temperatures होता है. But March is considered to be a very conducive temperature at the time of in the northern hemisphere, especially Tropic of Cancer के आसपास में. Right? Now see here, if I ask you a question, the length of the day increases in the northern hemisphere from June to December. Is this statement right? The length of the day increases from June to December. Is this statement right? In fact, the length of the day decreases. The length of the night increases from June to December. But the length of the day increases as we go from December to June. Right? Clear? यहाँ से यहाँ जाते हुए रात का समय इंक्रीज होता है और दिन का टाइम कम होता है. राइट? दैट मीन्स सी दिस इज कॉल्ड एज सोलार मैक्सिमा. सोलार मैक्सिमा, मैक्सिमा मतलब सबसे ज्यादा सनलाइट इन द नॉर्दर्न हेमिस्फीयर यू विल सी ड्यूरिंग द मंथ्स ऑफ जून. Now what is this? Solar minima. Solar maxima, solar minima. बस. And हर साल you'll have at least 1 or 2 questions in any competitive examination on this particular topic. So please make sure you should be very, very clear with this. Right? Clear? So let me ask you another question. The sun never sets in the month of December at which latitudes? The sun never sets in the month of the December, or else the sun never sets beyond the horizons in the month of December at Arctic Circle or Antarctic Circle? Antarctic Circle. Very good. Okay? The sun never sets in the month of June beyond the horizons at Arctic Circle. ठीक है? ये जो Arctic Circle माना जाता है, this blue color line, Arctic Circle in the north, Antarctic Circle in the south. Beyond that Arctic Circle now, it is, if there is darkness, complete darkness will be there. If it is sunlight, continuous sunlight will be there. Right? So currently, we are in the month of May, right? Next month, it is June. So highest amount of heat will be there in the northern hemisphere. So if you look into the current affairs, especially the geography related current affairs, you will come across there are few seas which are present near to the polar region. Just near to Japan, near to Russia, near to the North Korea and all. There are rivers which get frozen during this time. During the month of January, December. Now those rivers, what happens is that they'll start to thaw. Thaw means, वो ice जो है ना वो melt होते रहते हैं. Now ice will continuously starts to flow. Right? So navigation is very difficult for them now. What do? Is they use during this time, just a lumbering is nothing but cutting down of trees. So what do? Is they cut the trees even before the winter comes in, or else after the winter comes in, they cut the trees. Big log woods होता है ना, वो ice के ऊपर रख देता है, river के ऊपर. As the river starts to melt along with the ice, it continuously comes southward. ठीक है? Lumbering industry में they utilize the melting up of this particular rivers and they use the transportation. ठीक है? So you go to Dal Lake in Kashmir. Jan में frozen. ठीक है? Vular Lake also, a part of Vular Lake is also frozen. Right? Fresh water थोड़ा जल्दी froze होता है. Salt water, it will not get frozen that easily. So navigation and all, it is a bit problem whenever you have solar minima. Right? So please make sure, अगर photo लेना है जो भी है, you can take. And then what I want is, please make sure to remember all of these things. These are very, very basics. आगे यही सब help करने वाले हैं आपको. Right? Okay. Now let's quickly move towards our next topic. Subtropical? Subtropical region, I haven't come to the topic of subtropics, no? मैं समझा देता हूँ. Am I using the word subtropics? No, I haven't used. In chapter there is a word. Till date I haven't used the word subtropics, no? हाँ, when I use the word I'll explain. But let me quickly tell you what is the basic latitudes. देखो, if this is the earth, this is equator, right? From equator to 23.5 degrees south and 23.5 degrees south. Now 0 to 5 degrees and 0 to 5 degrees. This is 0, 5, 0, 5. Now this particular region is called as, anyone who can tell me? Doldrum. ठीक है? 5 degrees ऊपर, 5 degrees नीचे. This 10 degrees variation from 5 degrees north to 5 degrees south. This is called as doldrum. ठीक है? Or else equatorial region भी कहा जाता है. Now beyond from 23.5 degrees south to 23.5 degrees north, or else 5 degrees north to 23.5 degrees north, this is called as north tropics. This is called as tropics. ठीक है? Now, many students have the doubt that, sir, what is subtropics? Subtropics is nothing but 20 to 30 degrees latitudes are called as subtropics. ठीक है. एनीवेयर 20 to 30 डिग्रीज लैटिट्यूड्स जो है ना, यहां पे सब ट्रॉपिक्स कहा जाता है. और एल्स ठीक है. You can write it as 23. That would be the right. 20 to 30. There is no fixed definition that ये subtropics मतलब 20 to 30. Anywhere 20 to 30 मान के चलो. It is used as the region next to this tropical region. Right? Same way in the southern hemisphere also. That is south subtropics. Now coming to the regions of temperate, ठीक है. टेम्परेट रीजन, दो तरह टेम्परेट रीजन होता है. वन इज कोल्ड टेम्परेट, अदर वन इज वार्म टेम्परेट. नाउ व्हाट इज दिस कोल्ड टेम्परेट एंड वार्म टेम्परेट? इन सिंपल टर्म्स, you take 30 degrees latitude and here also 30 degrees. Now 30 to 45, if you take a line 30 to 45 and here also 30 to 45. The latitudes between 30 to 45, these latitudes are called as warm temperate, and then from 45 to 66 they are called as cold temperate. Right? Same way in the southern hemisphere also, this is, you have two. One is warm temperate, other one is cold temperate. So if suppose if I am using the word temperate, it means to say that anywhere 30 degrees latitude से लेकर 66 latitude 66 degrees तक you have to consider. Right? Temperate means 30 degrees latitude to 66. मैं ये चाहता हूं आप एटलस भी वर्ल्ड मैप ओपन करके देख लो, मतलब कहां कहां पर है. इट विल बिकम इजियर फॉर यू. राइट? और एल्स आजकल डिजिटल एटलस तो है, मोबाइल एंड ऑल, और एल्स इफ यू डू नॉट हैव यू कैन शेयर इट विथ योर फ्रेंड एज वेल. ओके, सो दिस इज योर पोलर रीजन एंड दिस इज पोलर रीजन ऑल्सो. This is south and this is north polar region beyond 66, or also called as Arctic, and this is also called as Antarctic region. Right? Clear with these latitudes? If you want to take photo quickly. बाद में मुझे भी शेयर कर देना, और else if you have a group just share it in the group, any group. Done? Okay. One, you need to remember all of this. See, doldrum matlab, I'll explain you in further time period. Doldrum in simple terms, it means to say that nothing is happening. Dolla. Doldrum means in simple terms, there is no activity. Okay? Doldrum means there is no activity. Now what kind of activity is not there? It is movement of winds. Winds का speed ज़्यादा नहीं होता. ठीक है? और the atmosphere will be little calm. जैसे शाम होते ही 4 बजते ही रोज बारिश होता है इस रीजन में. Every day there will be thunderstorms. Every day there will be rainfall. Now in the doldrums you will have a rainfall by the name convectional rainfall. ठीक है? The sea won't be much active. Sea, you will not see big waves there. ठीक है? And here every day rainfall होगा. Every day cumulonimbus clouds करके कुछ ऐसे clouds होते हैं. I'll explain about these clouds in a further time period. Now these clouds, they always give thunderstorms. Every day evening thunderstorms and everyday rainfall. ध्यान रखो. First suppose, if I tell you, at the doldrum region, if you have a house and you also have a farming area of 10 acres. ठीक है? Now you got to learn that every day there is rainfall and morning time there is intense heat. What crops will you grow? He says rice and राइस का ग्रोइंग कंडीशंस क्या? हार्वेस्टिंग टाइम पे बारिश चाहिए, फिर हार्वेस्ट कैसे करोगे? लॉजिक, जस्ट कॉमन सेंस. ठीक है, ऐसा आपका प्रीलिम्स में क्वेश्चंस आ सकते हैं, तो आपको कॉमन सेंस के जरिए क्लियर करना होगा. ना सोच के बताओ कौन सा ऐसा क्रॉप्स ग्रो किया जाएगा फिर हर दिन बारिश, एवरी डे देयर विल बी रेनफॉल. ठीक है, out of 365 days, 320 days you will find rainfall in the evening, only for 1 hour, 1.5 hour, and thunderstorms will be there. So morning it will be very very hot, and evenings it will be little cold. फिर pulse, no, basically you'll go for cash crops. ठीक है, प्लांटेशन क्रॉप्स के लिए जाते हो आप, राइट? प्लांटेशन मतलब ये छोटे छोटे प्लांटेशंस नहीं, एरिका नट, कोकोआ. ठीक है, दीज काइंड ऑफ प्लांट्स आर वेरी गुड, वेल ग्रोन इन दिस पार्ट ऑफ द रीजन. अगर रोज बारिश है, मिट्टी रुकेगा क्या? मतलब क्रॉप्स तो ग्रो ही नहीं कर सकते हो आप. इट इज नॉट गुड फॉर ग्रोइंग क्रॉप्स. द सॉइल वोंट बी ऑफ दैट वेरी रिच. ऑल टाइम व्हाट यू नीड टू डू इज टुडे यू हैव पुट सम फर्टिलाइजर्स एंड शाम तक इट विल बी वॉश्ड अवे. सो दैट्स व्हाई you will be going for water intensive crops, no doubt. Now those water intensive crops which are plantation crops, which are big पेड़ होते हैं ना, बादाम, ठीक है, इस टाइप की चीजें आप ग्रो किया जाता है यहाँ पर. So likewise, you see here also when you look into the crops, there is a lot of relationship between sunlight, temperature, variation. So the crop growing seasons are also varied upon the movement of the sun. आप देखो sun rays will be directly falling during which month here? Write down the dates also so that it will be easier for you. So at the Tropic of, what is the date? Tropic of Cancer. Tell me the date. Equator plus basically March and September are the time for supplementaries. You know, कॉलेज में आप मार्च में फेल हो गया तो अगला एग्जाम सितंबर में ही होता है, पता है आपको? ठीक है, मार्च एंड सितंबर. दिस इज हाउ यू एट लीस्ट यू कैन रिमेंबर. And here, right? So you have to remember these relationships also. Now let's quickly move towards our atmosphere. In the atmosphere topic, what I'll do is we'll learn with respect to the origin and evolution of the atmosphere. So who will tell me how did the origin and evolution of the atmosphere took place? मैंने कहा था chapter number 2 पढ़ना है on the day 1. If someone who have read it, you will at least know how did the evolution of the atmosphere took place on the earth. 21st June. Very good, Manendra. Yes. See, atmosphere took place initially. Earth was a hot body. ठीक है? When Earth was a hot body, there are so much gases that are present on this earth. ठीक है? From that hot body there are many gases that would be evolving. So our evolution of the atmosphere took place in 3 stages. First stage, it is washing of the primordial atmosphere or loss. Okay? Loss of the primordial atmosphere. Now, what do you mean by primordial atmosphere? In simple terms, when the earth was formed during the Big Bang theory, which I have told you, and the planetesimals are small bodies which together fused, addition ke saath earth bana tha. So this earth was having lot of gases around it. Now, imagine this is the earth, hot body, there will be volcanoes that will be emitting out these gases. Now this atmosphere was actually washed away by the sun. How? Sun sends solar flares, and these solar flares have washed away all the gases which are there. ठीक है? Now जो पुराना atmosphere है उसे कहा जाता है primordial atmosphere. Right? Now once this primordial atmosphere is gone, where did the earth get its atmosphere from? So here right? Solar flares washed away the primordial atmosphere. But once the solar flares have washed away this primordial atmosphere, the earth is a bare rock again. But it is hot. देखो आज भी earth has been formed near about 5 billion years ago. But in spite of it, today, when you go deep into the interior of the earth is still hot body. ठीक है? That means ये जो गर्मी है अर्थ के अंदर आज कोर पे है, core temperatures are very high, 6000 degrees Celsius, 7000 degrees Celsius तक जाता है. That heat is there since the beginning. ठीक है? Over a period of time, earth started to cool. Now, as and when the earth started to cool, this bare rock started to enter into a phase called Now, what is this degassing? Hot interior of the earth started to emit out the gases from volcanoes. ठीक है? Volcanoes started to give out those gases. Earth was little more hotter. Now, earth started to cool down. When the earth started to cool down, the composition of the gases changed. See, initially, when the earth was there, it was hot. That means multiple gases earth might have released, right? उस time पे कौन सा gases था? Helium, hydrogen. Very good. Now, why did you say helium, hydrogen? Yes? देखो हीलियम एंड हाइड्रोजन सबसे लाइटर मटेरियल है. ठीक है? सपोज इफ आई हैव फ्यू गैसेस इन माय हैंड, हाइड्रोजन, हीलियम, लिथियम, बेरिलियम, बोरॉन, कार्बन, नाइट्रोजन, मैं सारे गैसेस लेके यहां पे रखा. ठीक है? कौन सा ऐसा गैस सबसे लाइटर होगा, वो ज्यादा ऊपर जा सकता है? बचपन में बलून्स यू माइट हैव रिलीज्ड इनटू द एयर. नाउ व्हिच गैस इज फिल्ड इनटू इट? हीलियम. व्हाई हीलियम? व्हाई नॉट? बिकॉज इट इज लाइट. ठीक है? नाइट्रोजन से भी लाइटर है ये, इसीलिए दैट हीलियम गोस हायर एंड हायर. सो मोस्ट ऑफ द गैसेस विच आर एमिटेड हियर ऑन द अर्थ, all the lighter gases, what happened is, if I zoom in, let's take this part of the region. Imagine there are gases emitting out. Now these सबसे lighter gases जो है ना, they used to reach the top. Now these lighter gases are hydrogen plus helium. ऐसा नहीं है केवल हाइड्रोजन एंड हीलियम ही है, यहाँ पे कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड थोड़ा कम था, बट सल्फर वॉज देयर. अलॉन्ग विद दैट यू ऑल्सो हैव लिटिल हेवियर, लिटिल लाइटर गैसेस. लिथियम भी होता था. ये सारे गैसेस दे वर वॉश्ड अवे बाय द एटमॉस्फेयर. उसके बाद देन द अर्थ स्टार्टेड टू एमिट आउट, एज एंड व्हेन इट स्टार्टेड टू कूल डाउन, It gave carbon dioxide. It gave methane. It also gave certain amounts of lighter elements of oxygen also. This is the first phase. Hydrogen, helium wash out हो गया ना. फिर बाद में यहाँ पे degassing. Now, why did this degassing start? The degassing started because of, if this is your Earth, Earth के ऊपर कुछ volcanoes था. If I have to draw this in a better way, degassing means it is this. Imagine this is your Earth. Earth के ऊपर कई सारे volcanoes होता है. Now these volcanoes started to give out the gases. Now why these volcanoes are giving out the gases? Because there is too much heat present in the interior of the Earth. That means Earth का गर्मी कम हो रहा है ना. If it is starting to release its heat, that means Earth is also getting cooled. As and when the Earth started to cool, it is this time the carbon dioxide also started to release. ठीक है? Now that carbon dioxide which went into the atmosphere, it is getting cooled, condensed. फिर धीरे धीरे बारिश होने लगा. ठीक है? Carbon dioxide and other gases which are emitted into the atmosphere, what do? They went into the atmosphere and slowly the atmosphere started to form. That means यहाँ पे अलग अलग gases which are emitted through this degassing process, not just volcanoes, other heat vents which are being released. So it started to cover the Earth like this. एक layer बन रहा है. ठीक है? अर्थ को एक प्रोटेक्टिव लेयर बन गया. इस प्रोटेक्टिव लेयर के कारण अर्थ का टेम्परेचर और भी कम हो गया. ठीक है? डू यू अग्री? Sunrays cannot enter with the same intensity, right? Now with this, Earth started to cool down and slowly condensation happened. Now what do you mean by condensation? The gases will get compressed. Condensation होता है. Condensation मतलब बारिश होने लगा. जैसे ही बारिश होने लगा, तब क्या हुआ? मतलब देखो यहां पर डस्ट पार्टिकल्स भी होता है, ऐसा नहीं है डस्ट इज देयर, ऑल द अदर मटेरियल्स विल बी देयर, सल्फर गैसेस, ऑल द मेजर गैसेस. ठीक है? Condensation happened because of that rainfall started. Now when the rainfall started, that is when the life started to evolve. Right? So the composition of the atmosphere changed in the next phase, in the third phase. After this second phase, this is called as degassing. So here in the degassing, write down. First point, evolution of the Earth's atmosphere. Did you write the washing away of the primordial atmosphere, this thing? Okay? Now here write down in this point, हाइड्रोजन प्लस हीलियम, ना इस पॉइंट में, पहले पॉइंट में, हाइड्रोजन प्लस हीलियम स्ट्रिप्ड ऑफ by the solar winds. Hydrogen plus helium stripped off by the solar winds. This process is not just confined to the Earth. This process is not just confined to the Earth, but to all the planets in our solar system. But to all the planets in our solar system. Over a period of time, the Earth started to cool down. Over a period of time, the Earth started to cool down. The other gases and water vapor, is released from the interior of the Earth. The other gases and the water vapor are released from the interior of the solid Earth. Interior of the solid Earth. Next, in the degassing, write down. Earth started to release out multiple gases. Earth started to release multiple gases and the atmosphere started to form. Earth started to release multiple gases and the atmosphere began to form. During the process of degassing, gases such as water vapor, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, water vapor, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, methane, NH3, and some amounts of oxygen were also released. Okay? Third point. So these are 2 points. In the third point, write subheading as change in the composition of the gases. Change in the composition of atmosphere. Okay? Atmospheric gases. Underline it. Write down. The atmosphere composition changed because of the existence of life. The atmosphere composition was changed because of the existence of life. ठीक है, ब्रैकेट में लिखो, living organisms participate in the process of photosynthesis. Living organisms participate in the process of photosynthesis. Comma. Thus, the concentration of carbon dioxide decreased and the concentration of oxygen increased. Around 2,500 to 3,000 million years. Around 2,500 to 3,000 million years, the process of photosynthesis got evolved. The process of photosynthesis got evolved. And the oxygen flooded the atmosphere. Finally, the atmosphere formed. And today, it comprises of few permanent gases. Number 1, nitrogen 78.08%. Nitrogen 78.08%. Oxygen 20.95%. Nitrogen 78.08%. Oxygen 20.95%. Argon 0.93%. Carbon dioxide 0.036. Put a star mark and write. The oxygen is present till a height of, next point, the oxygen is present till a height of 120 kilometers in negligible amounts. Whereas carbon dioxide and water vapor are present only up to 90 kilometers. carbon dioxide and water vapor are only present up till a height of 90 kilometers. ठीक है. So basically क्या हुआ? First, जो अर्थ के ऊपर गैसेस था, these gases which are primarily formed of hydrogen and helium, they are washed away. Now once they are washed away, earth started to give out the gases from its interior. That is nothing but your degassing process. Degassing process, it gave carbon dioxide, it gave water vapor, क्योंकि volcanoes were there, hydrogen, so hydrogen is washed away, and other gases like methane, some elements of oxygen was also there, but oxygen was in very less concentrations. But वैसे ही as क्या हुआ था यहाँ पे, the rainwater came into picture, condensation happened, and finally you will get to see as the rainwater started to form, life forms evolved. Life forms, they took in the carbon dioxide which is present in the atmosphere and they gave in the oxygen. धीरे धीरे life forms बढ़ गया, ठीक है, living species, plants, animals, they took in more carbon dioxide and they are storing that carbon in the form of what? If suppose a tree is taking in that carbon dioxide which is present in the atmosphere and it is giving out oxygen. Now where is that carbon dioxide gone? Basically branches, tree का जो stem होता है ना, वही है. मतलब एक टाइम पे एक भी पेड़ नहीं था, अब इतने सारे पेड़ है. Now where is that? The huge amounts of carbon dioxide which was emitted in the beginning days, that is stored in the form of plants. अब ये समझ लो, why is everyone asking not to cut that plants? What happens if they are cut? Basically क्या होता है, carbon which is there, it will again emit into the atmosphere. ठीक है. अब carbon is nothing but the carbon dioxide. You cut कोयला जो है, what is coal? Coal is also nothing but carbon. लक्कड़ को आप wood को you completely put under the earth for few thousands of years, it will turn into coal, right? That coal is nothing but at one or the other point of time, the carbon dioxide which is full with this degassing, that carbon dioxide is taken by a plant, and this plant, the stem which is there, in fact, it has taken that CO2 and it has added oxygen. Now, if you are planning to cut this particular plant, it will emit out carbon dioxide and it will not give you oxygen. That means कहीं ना कहीं fundamentals of our earth which is there, you are going to disturb that. Solid form में convert होता है धीरे धीरे. देखो कार्बन कभी सॉलिड फॉर्म में स्टोर नहीं होता. कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड इज टेकन बाय द प्लांट थ्रू द प्रोसेस ऑफ फोटोसिंथेसिस. नाउ दैट इज चेंज्ड इनटू अदर फॉर्म्स ऑफ एनर्जी and then finally it is converting into a solid form. ठीक है, that is nothing but your stem. When you burn that stem, don't you get that koila, right? That is how it is. So in this manner, photosynthesis also impacted the formation of the atmosphere, right? So this is how the origin and evolution of the atmosphere took place, and now we'll learn about the composition of the atmosphere. You tell me, firstly, what is atmosphere? What is atmosphere? Sir, carbon is the most important gas. Yes, carbon dioxide is one of the most important gas. Yes, atmosphere, Harsh says, mixture of, ठीक है, only gases है, और कुछ है? Water vapor भी है. That means mixture of gases. What are these gases which are present in the atmosphere? ये जो gases है ना, दो तरह होता है. एक permanent gases and दूसरा temporary gases. You have permanent gases and you also have temporary gases. Now, what are the permanent gases which are present on the Earth's atmosphere? Nitrogen, carbon dioxide, oxygen, argon. So basically, nitrogen में percentage क्या है? 78.08. Oxygen Oxygen 20.95. It is not 21. Just said 21. We take it for granted. Argon is right. So these are permanent gases. Temporary gases kahin sare hai, right? Every living being in one or the other form releases some temporary gases. Rest of the gases, whatever you think, they are considered to be temporary in nature. So our worry is not about temporary gases, right? You can name any gas as temporary gas. Har koi gas, ठीक है? But our issue is this permanent gases variation. In the further time, you'll learn about a topic called climate change. Climate change is nothing but whenever you change the permanent gases composition, your climate will change. Right? After half an hour, you'll get to understand the importance of the climate change concepts as well. ठीक है. One atmosphere is a mixture of gases plus what? What else is atmosphere? Asta says, sir, water vapor also. Plus, what else do you find in the atmosphere? Dust. Next. डस्ट में हाइग्रोस्कोपिक न्यूक्लियस, मतलब जो छोटे छोटे डस्ट पार्टिकल्स जो होता है विच आर प्रेजेंट इन द एटमॉस्फेयर, जिसके अंदर चार्ज है, ठीक है, उसे कहते हैं आयोन्स, विच आर you cannot see it with the eyes, but they have the potential to hold the moisture around them. They will help in the formation of the clouds. So basically, your atmosphere is a mixture of gases plus water vapor plus dust particles. Aerosols, ठीक है, aerosols also there. They also come under the dust. Now this dust, mitti is also a dust, salt. Up sea के you travel on the sea. In a hot sunny day, salt can literally be felt on your face. ठीक है? I stayed 6 years in Visakhapatnam. ठीक है? Visakhapatnam में I used to enjoy during my college days and all. If next to my room there used to be a beach. First 10 days I was so excited. After the 15th day, I got to learn that whenever I wake up in the morning, when I wipe my lips around, then I get to taste salt on my face. Not just that, my entire building, every 6 months or so, we have to paint it. It's an additional cost. ठीक है? The clothing which you wear, the curtains and all, their color wears off or it is easily tearing off. The iron which is there, it gets rusted. So basically, the dust which is sometimes you cannot see, salt is also considered to be your dust. Right? Salt on the sea, dust particles, aerosol particles, chemicals, all these volatile organic compounds, they are also considered to be your part of atmosphere itself. But primarily we focus on what are permanent in nature. Water vapor is permanent, dust particles are permanent, and permanent gases. Rest of the temporary gases, you can name any gas which is present there. Now let's try to understand the nature of the gases here. See, here you need to understand the characteristics of few gases. Here in the atmosphere, in the permanent, you also have ozone. ठीक है? Right? Ozone is also a permanent entity which is present in the atmosphere. Now, overall, what we'll do is we'll try to learn about each of these characteristics. What is the potential of these characteristics? Now, suppose if all of these gases are there in the atmosphere, in this particular room, don't you think that all the gases are there? If I am closing this glass, what gases are present here? All the gases? In the day when I asked, I have inhaled this particular gas. Did I inhale all the gases? I think I did not say the answer on that day. Did I inhale all the gases? Any doctor in the class? Online? Yes? Avijit says, so mixture of gases in addition, it contains huge amount of solid and liquid particles, collectively of aerosols. Yes, very good. Purvanshi says, nitrogen. See, basically, you will not inhale all the gases. You have certain filters in your body. ठीक है? Like plant takes in carbon dioxide and gives out oxygen, right? What do? We take in oxygen and gives out carbon dioxide. So our body can sustain this particular homogeneous composition. If you change this composition, homogeneous composition matlab, if I take the glass, in this glass, you actually have all the gases. Your body can sustain all these gases in this right composition. If you increase the composition, your body cannot take it. At times, you will also inhale other gases. At times, you have some filters. Overall, your body has adapted to such kind of situations. Right? Now, doctors say that there is no clear-cut yes or no to this answer. Okay? When doctors do not know, are they inhaling all the gases or not? To a certain extent, your body inhales one or the other gas here, but at the end, it is the oxygen which is taken in the large amounts of concentration, and rest of them are filtered out. Your lungs are trained to be in that way. Okay? This is out of the box. Now come back. We are going to learn about the characteristics of each gases. I always say that if I have nitrogen, carbon dioxide and oxygen, I always like nitrogen as compared to oxygen if I am looking for the well-being of this earth. See, initially, just imagine if oxygen concentration was very, very high during the times of degassing, what happens? Suppose if I say that nitrogen concentration today, it is 78%, but I'll say that, imagine, I'll change this entire nitrogen composition and I'll convert nitrogen composition into atmosphere, oxygen. So I'll convert this entire thing into oxygen. Is it good? No. क्या होगा? एक volcano erupt होगा, 78% nitrogen हो तो our earth will be a lighthouse in the atmosphere. ये सारे, it will burn off. So that's why huge amounts of oxygen is also not considered to be good. Only little amounts of oxygen. That too, our earth has maintained that balance. So if you increase too much of oxygen, then also a problem. If you are increasing too much of the carbon dioxide, then also it is a problem. Nitrogen को भी increase करो, तब भी problem है. हमें हमेशा balance में रखना चाहिए. And this balance, earth has taken near about 4,000 million years time period it has taken to maintain this balance. Now you human being, in the last 200 years, what have you done? आपने एक छोटा सा इंडस्ट्री क्रिएट किया, ठीक है? You went and created an industry here. And from this industry, what are you emitting out? Which gases dominantly? Carbon dioxide. So कितने सारे industries है अर्थ के ऊपर? You have millions of industries across the globe, and we have been doing it since when? Since industrial revolution. So आज volcanoes से ज़्यादा industries है on the earth. So of course industries are definitely required. So because of this industrialization process, what happened is we started to add carbon dioxide more. ठीक है? When we started to add carbon dioxide more, don't you think that, are you not altering the percentage of the carbon dioxide, the permanent gases concentration here? Yes. Now in simple terms, when you know the properties of the carbon dioxide, then you will appreciate why should we not change the permanent gases composition on the earth. Okay? First, let's go and try to understand the characteristics of the carbon dioxide. See, carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. Okay? All the greenhouse gases has certain properties. Now, what is this property? Anyone who can tell me? See, in these greenhouse gases, one of the primary greenhouse gases is your carbon dioxide, which is also your permanent gas. Okay? Now, this permanent gas, greenhouse gases, they have the tendency to trap the heat. Okay? See, when the sun is sending you the solar rays is nothing but sun sends multiple rays. Sun also sends you X-rays, UV rays, gamma rays, electromagnetic spectrum में जो भी rays बचपन में आपने पढ़ा है ना, electromagnetic spectrum, that is radio waves or microwaves, जितने भी waves है ना, it sends every waves. Few waves will reach the earth, few waves will not reach the earth. Right? You might have heard about ozone, it is present in this layer, ozone will block certain UV rays. Like that, carbon dioxide also does some work in the atmosphere. For example, imagine this is your earth. Okay? On the earth today, you have near about 0.03% of the carbon dioxide. Near to that, or 0.06 to 3 ke beech mein. So here, these carbon dioxides, what do they do is, imagine these are the carbon dioxide gases which I am putting into the atmosphere. The nature of this carbon dioxide is, they are opaque. They have opaque characteristics. They also have transparent characteristics. Okay? Opaque means it will stop. Transparent means it will let pass. So just imagine sun which is there. It will send its rays. Now these rays are called as, anyone who can tell me? Insolation. These are called as incoming solar radiation. Now this incoming solar radiation, which is also called as insolation. Insolation matlab short form. IN from here, SOL from here, TION from here. What is it called? Short form is insolation. Now from now on, I'll be calling the sun's rays as insolation. Okay? Comfortable with that word? So as the insolation which is coming from the sun, all the waves which are coming from the sun, they are having short wavelength. ठीक है? उनका जो wavelength होता है ना, short wavelength माना जाता है. ठीक है? So there is a difference between short wavelength and long wavelength. See, basically, this is a wave, and this is also a wave. ठीक है? Everything in the world is coming in the form of waves. Suppose मैं बात कर रहा हूं ना, how are you able to hear? Sound waves, right? I have spoken something, from my voice box, a wave started to generate and it went and vibrated your ear with the same frequency. That is why you are able to hear, right? If I am speaking with my bare voice, a person is located 1 kilometer away, can he hear my voice? The chances are very less. You know why? Because sound waves, they can, my voice, I'm not able to generate that strength of the wave. Likewise, imagine the light is there here. This is called as visible light. It has a wavelength. So every light has its wavelength. Kuch waves, chote waves होता है, छोटे wavelengths. Wavelength मतलब it is always calculated like this, from here to here. ठीक है? From this particular length is called wavelength. जिसका wavelength ज़्यादा होगा, they can travel for longer distances. जिसका wavelength छोटा होगा, they can travel for shorter distances. But if suppose the frequency बहुत strong है, ठीक है, they will have very energy. Now what do you mean by frequency? Right? This is called frequency. Mean the upward and downward movement. So ये जो wave है, frequency is always based on the strength. ठीक है? So basically, sun से जो waves आ रहे हैं ना, they are dominantly short waves. That means the light that is sent from the sun, which is insolation, it is called as short waves. Now this short wave solar radiation भी कहा जाता है इसे. I am using another word here, which is also called as insolation, is also called as shortwave solar radiation. Now this shortwave solar radiation which is coming from the sun, it can easily pass through carbon dioxide. That means incoming solar radiation is transparent to carbon dioxide gas. CO2 जो है, insolation जो है, insolation के लिए transparent है. ठीक है? Remember this very clearly. Incoming solar radiation, the sunlight which is there, the waves that are sent from the sun, the rays that are sent from the sun, they can easily pass through the carbon dioxide gas. It means, let me show it to you. If suppose this is your sun is sending you some waves. Imagine there is carbon dioxide which is present. These dots are carbon dioxides. ठीक है? Carbon dioxide मान के चलो. And this is your earth. So incoming solar radiations, they can easily pass through and reach the earth. That means right now these rays which have come onto the earth, what do? First they will heat the earth. Remember this, understand this very clearly. कोई भी doubt है मेरे से पूछ लेना. You can stop me also, but this is very, very important concept. The incoming solar radiations which can easily pass, that means this is carbon dioxide, they pass through and then they reach the earth and earth gets heated. अगर कोई भी गर्म body होता है, that hot body will send out waves. जितना पुराना light होगा, उतना ही strong short waves generate करेगा. The older the light, the short waves will be there. The stronger short waves will be there. आप बताओ हमारी जो दुनिया में मतलब the knowledge of stars which we experience or the light from the stars which we experience, सबसे पुराना light कहाँ पर है? In our solar system, I'm talking about in our solar system, which is the oldest light? Sun is a lamp which has been lit around 4.5 to 6 billion years ago. That lamp has never shed till date. बहुत ज़्यादा old light है. जितना old light होगा उतना ही ज़्यादा strong waves आता है. लेकिन ये जो old lamp, our sun, which is there, it has sent some waves, and that waves during the daytime, what do? They heat the earth. Now once the earth got heated, don't you think earth will generate waves? Earth will also generate waves. Now those waves which are generated by the earth, they are called as terrestrial radiation. ठीक है? This is called as that means the heat which is gained by the earth will now start to radiate outward. Certain other set of rays which are called as long wave, they will be having long wave. ठीक है? Compared to this wave, they will have long wave. Now earth will also generate out waves. Right? Am I correct? So ये जो waves है, they get trapped by the carbon dioxide. Not just carbon dioxide, any greenhouse gas. That means all the carbon dioxide which is there, it will trap this particular long wave terrestrial radiation. ठीक है? All of this is CO2. So, in fact, the heat which is there, basically, these waves which went and are being blocked, now this gas will get heated. That means the greenhouse gas which is there, this gas will actually trap the heat. This is nothing but the energy which is being sent by the earth is nothing but the heat, right? The heat is sent in the form of rays. ठीक है? Now that heat is being trapped by this carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide has two characteristics. One, transparent characteristics to the incoming solar radiation, and opaque. Opaque means which will not let the rays to go out. Opaque characteristics to long wave terrestrial radiation or outgoing long wave terrestrial radiation, which is also called as right? Okay. That means now you got to learn the characteristics of carbon dioxide. Now this characteristics is not just confined to the carbon dioxide, it is also the characteristics of all the greenhouse gases. All the greenhouse gases, what do? They have transparent as well as opaque characteristics. This opaqueness is for this transparency is for this. फोटो वोटो लेना हो तो ले लो, आज याद रहेगा, 6 महीने के बाद कुछ भी याद नहीं रहता. देन यू विल फील ढूंढते रहोगे आप गैसेस. हर्ष ने बढ़िया क्वेश्चन पूछा. सर, अर्थ जो गर्मी अभी जनरेट हो रहा है, बेसिकली द रेस्पॉन्सिबल एजेंट इज द अर्थ इटसेल्फ. सो नाउ, for example, atmosphere has a temperature of near about today. If morning I checked the temperature of this place, it is near about 40 degrees Celsius. ठीक है, 42 तक है. So 42 degrees Celsius मतलब, is this heat given by the sun? Basically, ultimate source of energy is always the sun. But that sun's rays are not coming and heating the atmosphere. So imagine, if I show you the atmosphere is not directly heated by the sun. ठीक है? Our atmosphere is actually heated by the earth. समझ गया? Sun's rays will come and fall on the earth. Earth will start to transfer that heat to the rest of the gases which is there in the atmosphere through the process of 3 major processes: conduction, convection, radiation. ठीक है? Earth gets heated. Now this earth which got heated, so just imagine this is the atmospheric layer of the earth. This atmosphere is not just getting heated by, if this is your sun, it is not heating directly this. First, what does it do is, it goes and reaches the earth and it gets heated. Now, once this is heated, the heat is transferred to the gases which is present in this atmosphere. So, greenhouse gases important hai ki nahi? Pehle, what is the main work of the greenhouse gases? To maintain the temperature of the earth. Now, what is the average temperature of the earth? Average. आज हमारा जो अर्थ का एवरेज टेम्परेचर है, एटमोस्फियर का बोल रहा हूं, ठीक है? एटमोस्फियर मीन्स दिस इज द एटमोस्फेरिक लेयर्स. ठीक है? नाउ जस्ट इमेजिन द एवरेज टेम्परेचर ऑफ द अर्थ विच इज देयर इज टुडे 15 degrees Celsius. Right? Now this 15 degrees Celsius, it is estimated that by the year 2100, this 15 degrees Celsius will rise to 17.5. ठीक है? Now that is a very serious problem, irreversible problem. मतलब you can gain knowledge or else you can gain money, but once the climate changes, you cannot do anything. Now that's a cyclical problem. Now what do you mean by cyclical problem? जैसे climate change is a problem. Climate change will create a problem called heat, and that heat will create a problem called again climate change. गर्मी ज्यादा हो गया, एसी ऑन करोगे, एसी से और ज्यादा गर्मी जनरेट होगा, और ज्यादा गर्मी से फिर से क्लाइमेट चेंज होगा. अगेन यू विल बाई मोर एसीज, यू विल बाई रेफ्रिजरेटर्स. लाइक दैट you will cut down trees for industrialization, for production of more and more ACs, more and more cooling agents. That cooling agents will have other gases. Now those gases are more harmful than any other gases. So this is a cyclical problem. ठीक है? Now this cyclical problem को हमें handle करना है. That is studied as a separate chapter or separate subject called climate change. Did you do the environment classes? मैं नहीं पढ़ा है ना? फिर तो सभी आता है आपको. So basically, for those who haven't done their environment, don't worry. Geography के बाद environment जो लोग करते हैं, for them it is very very easy. Now environment के बाद when you study geography, you will be enlightened. Oh, मैंने जो पढ़ा था, the species which is there, why is it only confined to this part of the region? So these are interlinked, right? So broadly, what I'm trying to tell you is the atmosphere heat which is gained by the Earth's atmosphere, it is primarily the heat is being transferred to the layers of the atmosphere. Now see, you know that, let's imagine I'm drawing a line. Imagine this is a line 10 kilometer above the surface of the earth. Okay? You are standing here. Right? This is 10 kilometer above the surface of the earth. Now, I have multiple layers. Okay? Just imagine this is layer A, layer B, layer C, layer D, and layer E. Right? As you know that it is actually the sun which is sending its heat, earth gets heated. Okay? And this earth, it will start to radiate out the heat. Right? That means, what are the heat generating agents? It is this long wave terrestrial radiation. Now with the long wave terrestrial radiation, this heat is transferred to the rest of the layers of the atmosphere through three processes that I'll explain after little time. Now these three processes are, number one, conduction, convection and radiation. ये हम कल पढ़ेंगे with respect to all of these three entities. Tomorrow I'll teach you about all of these three processes. But now let's just consider this as a factual entity. So, once this earth is heated, just a minute. This is A layer, B layer, C, D, E. So, आप बताओ कौन सा layer first heat होगा? A layer heat होगा. A layer से heat कहाँ पे transfer होगा फिर? B layer पे, B से C, C से D. Right? Suppose, imagine this is the digital board. This digital board is little hot. Okay? क्यों hot है? क्योंकि it is being running since some time. It is also generating certain kinds of waves, right? All the hot bodies will generate. Right? If I am standing far away from this board, I'll receive less amount of heat. But if I am going near to this board, I'll receive more amount of heat. Why? Basically, every body has certain energy to give out that rays, or rays that can give out energy. So they have the potential. क्या होता है? जो earth, once it starts to radiate out heat, first the heat is transferred to the lower layers. ठीक है? The heat is transferred to lower layers first. फिर जैसे जैसे आप ऊपर जाते हो, फिर इतना ज्यादा हीट नहीं होता. Suppose you are living in Chandigarh, it is too hot, but you go to Shimla, you will feel little cold. Why? Basically, imagine this is your Chandigarh. In fact, your Shimla will be present at this height. That means you are standing at this height and you are also present this height. Who will experience more heat? This is B and this is A. The person who is at A will receive more heat. The fundamental reason, as you go higher into the atmosphere, the temperature falls. Why? It is because always the majority of the heat that is being given to the atmosphere is primarily from the earth itself. So earth will give to the layers next to the air which is present here, and then this heat is transferred to the next layer, this heat is transferred to the other layer, likewise. So that's why for every 1 kilometer height as you go higher, that means you go 1 kilometer height, the temperature will be reduced by minus 6.5 degrees Celsius. ठीक है? For every 1 kilometer, 6.5 degrees Celsius temperature will be reduced. For example, you are located in a place called 0 degrees next to the sea. The temperature there is 40 degrees Celsius. And there is a place called Shimla which is present at 2000 meters. Okay, what will be the temperature at Shimla? At the plain area next to the sea level is considered to be the 0 mark. There the temperature is 40 degrees. And Shimla is present at 2 kilometers height. Mean sea level से 2 किलोमीटर ऊंचाई पर है. Now what will be the temperature at that place? At the plain area it is 40. Yes? कितना confidently गलत बोलते हो यार. For every 1 kilometer, 6.5 degrees Celsius will be reduced. So what will be the temperature? 27 degrees Celsius. Simply 6.5 into 2 karo. 2000 meters is nothing but 2 kilometers height. So that's why as you go into the hilly areas, the temperature will be less. Okay? As you go to the surface, that is plain area, the temperatures will be high. Comparatively, if they are present on the same latitude. I'm talking about same latitude. So this particular change in the temperature is called as lapse rate. ठीक है? इंसोलेशन का है. अब there's a question that is asked, इंसोलेशन का कोई भी मतलब कोई भी फैक्टर नहीं है क्या for heating the atmosphere? It is there. But majority of the heating happens through this. Actually, imagine 100 units of heat is being sent by the sun. 61 units will reach the earth. Okay? This we'll do tomorrow. It is actually 51. Near about 51 units will reach the earth. Rest of the 49 कहाँ गया? Basically, this you will understand after 2 days. ठीक है? There's a topic called heat budget. ठीक है? क्या होता है? कुछ clouds है. When there is clouds, that will not let the sun rays come in. So clouds has two properties. Clouds will absorb some heat. Clouds will also reflect some heat. For example, यहाँ पर I'll put बादल. While they come in, they'll also block some. They'll also grab some heat. So basically, other entities are there that we are going to discuss tomorrow. ऐसा नहीं है, Earth atmosphere is only heated from the Earth. No. Majority of the atmospheric heat on the Earth's atmosphere is through Earth outgoing terrestrial radiation. ठीक है? Now this is the fundamental factors that you need to know with respect to the atmospheric heating. So tomorrow we'll learn about this conduction, convection and radiation process. Now, यहाँ तक clear है? Lapse rate समझ गया? Now why, as you go higher into the atmosphere, why the temperature reduces? It is because of the processes of conduction. Now what do you mean by conduction? कोई मुझे बता सकते हो? The transfer of heat from one heated body to another heated body. True? To balance, ठीक है. Radiation भी तो यही करता है. Basically, conduction में ना point of contact होना चाहिए. ठीक है? If suppose I have a mobile which is very hot, ठीक है? There is some heat in the mobile. The heat which is there, if I am touching to my skin, the heat will be transferred to my skin. If there is a contact between one hot body and another body, the transfer of heat process which takes place is called as conduction. ठीक है? Radiation without any contact, right? Nuclear radiation कहते हैं. Basically, without any contact, if a heat is being transferred, that is called as radiation. So basically, conduction में क्या होता है? It is like this. Suppose this is the first layer which is in contact with the earth. This layer will get heated. Now the heat that is there, it will be transferred to the next layer. ठीक है? Once the next layer is also heated, the heat will now be transferred to next layer. So by the time it has reached to the D layer, the heat इतना ज़्यादा नहीं होता. ठीक है? कम हो जाता है. This is called as conduction. Contact should always be there. Radiation is there is no contact required. Now what is convection? Convection is, for example, if you see this particular layer which got heated, ठीक है, convection में क्या होता है, the entire heated layer will shift upward. The entire heated layer which is there, it will shift upward, and again another layer will start to heat. So likewise, after this is heated, now this particular layer, it will go upward, and this layer, it will move little higher. So convection में हमेशा a packet of air is heated, it rises, another packet of air it rises, another packet of air it rises. ठीक है, that is called convection. So convection में क्या होता है, for example, evening rainfalls जो होता है, जैसे cumulonimbus clouds माना जाता है, जैसे घने घने काले बादल which looks like a cotton wool, bursting thunderstorms. The thunderstorms का clouds देखा ना आप लोग? So that clouds are called as cumulonimbus clouds. Basically in the convectional process what happens is that cumulonimbus clouds form, and so much of energy is present with them, and then they heat it up and they burst it up, charge and all exchanges. I'll explain this in the thunderstorm concept, but yahan tak clear hai na, right? Now we'll directly come to the concepts of the, okay, this small concept that is left. चलो, आपको ग्रीन हाउस के बारे में भी पता है, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड you got to know. Nitrogen, basically nitrogen is a balancing gas. Now what is the purpose of this balancing gas? The purpose of the balancing gas is, on one side oxygen, if too much oxygen is there, it will burst out. So in order to maintain that blasting, maintain the fire component, nitrogen will always be there. So oxygen life entity है, notorious gas माना जाता है in the geography. Nitrogen is a balancing gas. Argon, these are other permanent gases, they have a very minimal role in maintaining the balance, right? Next is coming to the ozone and the water vapor. See, first we'll look into this water vapor. Water vapor kya hai? It is, imagine this is your earth, and you know the shape of the earth is like this. It is geoid at the center, right? And flat at the little top. Now at the equator ke paas more water vapor will be there. And as you go towards the poles, it is less water vapor. ठीक है? As you go towards the poles, the water vapor is less. As you go towards the equator, the water vapor will be more. Right? Remember this. Now, almost 4% of our atmosphere is made up of water vapor at any given point of time. ठीक है? Is water vapor a permanent gas? No, it is a variable gas. ठीक है? वार्म एंड वेट ट्रॉपिक्स में, जैसे at warm and wet tropics 4% is the water vapor composition, and near to the polar region it is less than 1%. In the cold deserts and dry deserts में less than 1% it will be there. ठीक है? सबसे हाई कहां पर होता है? इक्वेटर के पास, राइट? एंड ऑल्सो एज यू इंक्रीज द हाइट, व्हाट हैपेंस? वाटर वेपर इंक्रीजेस और डिक्रीजेस? डिक्रीजेस. ठीक है? एज यू इंक्रीज द हाइट, द अमाउंट ऑफ वाटर वेपर विच इज प्रेजेंट इज लेस. वाटर वेपर ऑल्सो डिक्रीजेस विथ एल्टीट्यूड. हाइट को हम जोग्राफिकल टर्म्स में वी ऑलवेज कॉल इट विथ एल्टीट्यूड. ठीक है? Decreases with altitude. Warm and wet tropics में 4%, and deserts, that is cold and warm deserts में it is less than 1%. ठीक है? These are some of the facts that you need to know with respect to water vapor, right? उससे ज़्यादा कोई possibility है नहीं. And water vapor, is it a permanent gas? variable. ठीक है. Next, coming to the concept of ozone. See, ozone is considered to be one of the permanent gases. It is not a variable gas, but the concentration of ozone, it keeps on varying. Where is ozone present? Stratosphere. Surface पे present है? Surface पे, जमीन के आसपास में. Bad ozone. ठीक है, it is called bad ozone. Now, ozone can also be present at the surface, but ozone is naturally not present at the surface. Ozone is present naturally in the stratosphere. ठीक है? Ozone is considered to be bad at the surface, and ozone is considered to be good at the stratosphere. Next is dust particles. Water vapor we are also done. Coming to the dust particles. See, these dust particles can be anything. It can be either the hygroscopic nucleus that are present, or small aerosols, salts which are present in the ocean. ठीक है? And industrial dust भी हो सकता है. Pollen. ठीक है? You know about pollen. जहाँ पेड़ है, जहाँ पे सबसे ज़्यादा pollen होता है. And recently I have read an article. The article is 60% of the people who are living in Chandigarh, they have pollen allergy. ठीक है? If you are not one among those, you are a lucky person. Basically, the city of Chandigarh and New Delhi, I'm only talking about New Delhi, not the old Delhi, the tree cover is very high. Now, when the tree cover is very high, the trees will shed their leaves, and the new pollens will be present during the month of March, April, and so. So, shedding of the leaves time period, that is when the highest number of pulmonary diseases, the highest number of lung-related diseases are reported in the Chandigarh hospitals. So, they have done a research with a sampling of near about 1.5 lakh. They have identified that near about 50+% of the people have pollen allergy. So, pollen is considered to be a dust particle as well, right? And hygroscopic nucleus, small aerosols, ये सारे dust particles माना जाता है. In a nutshell, your atmosphere is a mixture of gases, which are permanent gases, temporary gases such as water vapor. ठीक है? Likewise, you also have certain other gases and dust particles, right? Now, what we will be doing is, we will be going towards the structure of the atmosphere, right? Volcanic ash is also considered to be same. ठीक है? It is also considered to be dust particles. Let's once look into the online doubts. So, heat budget is difference of units between solar radiation and albedo values. Yes, Avijit, you are right. That we'll discuss tomorrow. Munendra says, yes, bad ozone. Yes, very good. Reflected back. It is called normal lapse rate. अच्छा, thank you Avijit. Avijit का कहना है, सर ये है नॉर्मल लैप्स रेट, जो 6.5 डिग्री सेल्सियस पर 1 किलोमीटर जो टेम्परेचर रिड्यूस होता है ना, इट इज कॉल्ड एज नॉर्मल लैप्स रेट. देयर इज एन अदर कॉन्सेप्ट विच इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड एज adiabatic lapse rate, but I'll not teach now, I'll teach day after tomorrow, right? Okay, our next topic is do you want to write notes for that quickly, or you have already written? Are you comfortable with that? NCERT is the same? ठीक है. Now, coming to the structure of the atmosphere. Anyways, a PDF will also be uploaded to your portal. ठीक है. I don't think that what I want you to do is understand the concepts first and make the running notes. उसके बाद वैसे भी आपके पास material आएगा, handout भी आएगा, and I am asking you to read NCERTs. You need to master NCERTs. Master NCERTs मतलब हर एक word which is there in the NCERT you need to know. You should be a pro by that. ठीक है? Once you are thorough with that NCERTs, no one can beat you. That should be the target, right? Any exam you take, PCS, UPSC, all questions come from NCERT. I am telling all except for mapping. ठीक है? Conceptual clarity should be very strong. maybe you might have read NCERT, but you may not have the depth of the knowledge that I am teaching you here. एक मैं इसीलिए कहता हूँ प्लीज रीड इट होम एंड देन कम, तब मजा आएगा, मतलब यू विल गेट अ बिगर पिक्चर, राइट? Now coming to the structure of the atmosphere, see this structure of the atmosphere is nothing but, if this is your earth, what are the layers that are present above the earth in the form of atmosphere? And do you remember on the day one, what did I say? What percentage of syllabus is present where? I told you 90% of your climatology syllabus is present up till 18 kilometers height, maximum of 18 kilometers height. Rest of this is 10%. ठीक है? Clear with this? Now, atmosphere has, our atmospheric structure has, with respect to temperature and with respect to the height, we have classified the atmosphere. That atmosphere is classified into various layers. आपने स्कूल में ये पढ़ा होगा या बचपन में एटलीस्ट ये तो सुना होगा, that there is a layer called troposphere. ठीक है? Then stratosphere, then mesosphere, then thermosphere, exosphere. So basically these are considered to be some of the layers which are present on the Earth's atmosphere. Now on what basis did we classify this? On the basis of two components. One, temperature, okay, and the availability of gases, right? So traditionally when you look into, where is this, till what height is this troposphere present? Troposphere is present till what height? Yes? देखो, आपने अगर एनसीईआरटी पढ़ा हो तो it is present like this. Basically, आपका जो ट्रोपोस्फियर का हाइट है, द हाइट ऑफ द ट्रोपोस्फियर, it is till 18 kilometers here and 8 kilometers at the poles. Right? Now, to the extent at which the troposphere stops at this height, 18 kilometers at the equator and 8 kilometers at the poles. Now the place where the troposphere stops is called as tropopause. ठीक है? Or else tropopause is also a region or a layer where constant temperature will be there. मतलब इस height के बाद you will not see much variation in the temperature. So this green line which I am drawing, this is called as tropopause. यहाँ देखो tropopause. Now what is that pause? Pause is nothing but temperature pause. अब मैंने कहा था for every 1 kilometer there is a decrease in temperature of 6.5 degrees Celsius. ठीक है? If I say that the temperature at the surface is 40 degrees Celsius. Now what will be the temperature at 18 kilometers? Decrease होगा, मैं वैल्यू पूछ रहा हूं. एंड एवरेज हाइट जो है ना, ये जो एवरेज हाइट है, एवरेज हाइट इट इज अप टू 13 किलोमीटर्स. ठीक है? Okay. So, if your temperature is 40 degrees at the surface, what is the temperature at equator tropopause? 18 kilometers की हाइट पे क्या टेम्परेचर होगा? CSAT -60. Yes. Right? Now, what is the temperature at the polar region? Usually माइनस में होता है ना. So imagine the temperature here is -4 degrees Celsius. What will be the temperature at 8 kilometers height? Calculate and tell me. 13 kilometers, very good, Munendra. Average height is 13 kilometers. If the temperature is minus 4 degrees Celsius, what is the temperature at 8 kilometers height? If the temperature is reducing for every 1 kilometer, 6.5 degrees Celsius, normal lapse rate. Yes. नहीं हो रहा है क्या कैलकुलेशंस? -56. ठीक है, it is near to -56. Basically, the tropopause temperatures will range between -30 to -50. ठीक है, it depends. Around -30 to -50, but the average height अगर calculate किया जाए, average height is 13 kilometers. But who will tell me why this height of the tropopause or the troposphere height is till 8 kilometers here and till 18 kilometers here? Why? Because of the temperatures. ठीक है, temperatures तो already कम है. Still, I told you the variation of the temperature can go up to -30 to -50. Height? Yes. Glaciers? No. थोड़ा सोच लेना. I'll really reward if someone gives me a very good answer to this. Polar clouds की height होता है down, but I'm asking the reasons. There are 2 reasons to this. एक reason बता दो. Any reason. I'll reward with a very good chocolate tomorrow. Online? Yes? ऊपर काफी ठंडा है. As you go higher, ठंडा ही होगा. क्यों होगा? क्योंकि you have learnt about a concept called lapse rate. Lapse rate is happening because the heat is transferred from here to the height. Surface area ठीक है, but right logic you are not giving. See, there are 2 reasons. One is gravity. Gravity कहाँ पे ज़्यादा है? For example, let's look here. If suppose this is the surface, on this surface, I'll tell you that the gravity is high at this point and low at this point. And I'll put 2 gases. This is a gas, this is a gas. ठीक है, where do you have high gravity? इधर. तो ये gas will be experiencing more gravity. This gas is experiencing less gravity, so gas ऊपर जाएगा. Now what is atmosphere? Atmosphere is full of gases. Now what is the shape of the earth? Geoid. Geoid shape मतलब the real shape of the earth is like this. In fact, see, it is bulged at the equator. It is flat near to the poles. Now when you start to measure the distance, gravity always comes from the core of the earth. This you will understand in the geomorphology classes. ठीक है, एक हफ्ते के बाद. तो just imagine this is your core. Gravity, the major reasons for the gravity is lying inside the interior of the earth. So you have a point A here and a point B here. Who is near to the A is near because यहाँ से जो distance है, A is near to this particular place. A will be experiencing more gravity. As B is far away, B comparatively far away है, so because of that, B will be experiencing less gravity. So all the gases which are present near to the earth, what happens is that the gases can go up to greater heights. ठीक है, और हर गैस को एक लिमिट तक ही कूल हो सकता है, उसके बाद कूल नहीं हो पाएगा, वो फॉर्म चेंज करेगा। ठीक है, अब जो भी गैसेस है यहां पर, ऑल द गैसेस विच आर देयर, नाउ दीज गैसेस दे हैव ए लिमिट टू एवरीथिंग। व्हाट हैपेंड, कहां गया ये? ठीक है, so what I'm trying to tell is that every gas has a limit to everything. They have a limit to cool. Beyond a point they cannot cool. If you're cooling that gas, it will change its form. Maybe वो liquid solid gas से liquid बनेगा या solid बनेगा, ऐसा कुछ होता है. So the maximum potential to which the gases can cool here is till a height of 18 kilometers, that to minus 50-60 degrees Celsius तक cool हो सकता है. Right? So that's the reason why you have just a minute. Yes. Yeah. Where is our diagram? Yes. So these gases, they experience less gravity here and they experience more gravity here. Right? As they have more gravity, these gases will be lower. And second thing is temperature. As you rightly said, temperature में क्या है? Cold air generally experiences, they will be present at lower. Warm air क्या है ना? Cold air और warm air का characteristics in the further time period when you learn, it will be like this. See, the general tendency of the cold air and warm air, it will be like this. Imagine this is your cold air. ठीक है? And imagine this is your warm air. हमेशा warm air का जो tendency होता है ना, the tendency to warm air is to rise. Now the tendency of the cold air is to sink. Why? I'll tell you in the further time period. ठीक है? Just understand this as a fact now. The tendency of the cold air is to sink and the tendency of the warm air is to rise. You heat anything, it will rise. You cool anything, it will sink. Right? So, do I have comparatively colder air here? And do I have comparatively warmer air here? Now this warmer air which is present at the equator, what does it has to do? It is trying to go against the gravity. Right? Sorry. Yes, it is trying to go against the gravity. And temperature is so high so that it is able to move high. Cold air है तो ये ज्यादा ऊपर नहीं जा पाएगा क्योंकि इसका टेंडेंसी क्या है? टू सिंक. वार्म एयर का टेंडेंसी क्या है? टू राइज. सो देयर इज अ टेंडेंसी टू राइज, देयर इज अ टेंडेंसी टू सिंक. राइट? So that's the reason why you have this tropopause height up till 8 kilometers is here and up till 18 kilometers is here. That means there are two reasons for this. The two reasons are, yes, one, temperature, which is nothing but cold air sinks and warm air rises. ठीक है? This is the first factor. Second factor is gravity. At equator, less gravity. At poles, more gravity. therefore gases sink. Less gravity, so gases rise. Now, as you go higher into the temperature, higher into the atmosphere, what happens? As you go higher into the atmosphere, temperature increases or decreases? It decreases. So, in the troposphere, if I draw, this is the surface, this is the troposphere. If this is 0 degrees Celsius, so surface, from here the temperature decreases. ठीक है? It will be like this. The temperature decreases. NCERT में जो diagram है ना, it is the same with respect to this is your height and this is your temperature. Now, till what temperature the troposphere can go? It can go up to -30 to 50. तो ये मान के चलो -30 है और ये 40 degrees तक भी मान के चलो 40-50. Right? This is your 0 degrees Celsius. Right? So, this is what is your troposphere. Temperature decreases with respect to height. Coming to the second layer, that is, the second layer here you will find is stratosphere. ठीक है? Now this stratosphere, there are certain characteristics to this stratosphere. You might have heard that ozone. Actually, ozone is present in the stratosphere layer. That means, you see, the ozone is present here. See, ozone ऐसा नहीं है, ozone मतलब हर जगह होगा. Ozone is a gas. Now, ozone gas has a very unique property. It can block the ultraviolet radiations. I told you Earth, the sun will send some shortwave radiations, right? So, one of the shortwave which is being sent by the sun is ultraviolet rays. ठीक है? That ultraviolet rays which are being sent by the sun, it will actually be blocked by the ozone layer. So this ozone which is there is considered to be very good for us. Why? Because UV rays में you have UVA, UVB. Now which is harmful? UVC. Skin diseases create करता है. Basically UVA is not harmful, UVB is harmful. ठीक है? Why UV is harmful? It is skin diseases. But लेकिन होता कैसे है? How does that skin diseases are created in the? Basically क्या होता है? This is light, right? That is why you are able to see me. This light is creating a shadow. If I am standing under the light, there is a shadow which you can see. Generally, there will be certain lights which will not create shadow. Shadow of your skin can be there. This visible light, the tube light which is there, it cannot pass through my skin. Right? It cannot pass through my bone. But if I am sending certain kind of X-rays, X-ray कितने लोग करवाए यहाँ पर? Everyone? Nice. So X-rays which are there, they will actually pass through your skin, but they cannot pass through the body. Bones. So that's why bone का shadow दिखता है हमें. As the bone shadow can be seen, if there are any cracks, you can find that cracks on the bone. Right? So, X-rays cannot pass through the body, bone. Likewise, your UV rays which are there, they can pass through certain entities. In fact, they can pass through our skin and they can reach the DNA of the cells. ठीक है? Body में जो DNA होता है, DNA और else plant का DNA जो होता है ना, that can reach even to that level and it will disrupt the DNA. Right? Now when the DNA is disrupted, usually you will get to see cancers. मतलब irregular growth of cells होता है. Now this UV rays, which is UVA and UVB rays, that B is very harmful. Now these B rays and C rays also, once they are exposed to the surface of the earth, उस area में ये मान के चलो एक भी living being नहीं होगा. Not even a single living being can be present there. Neither plants nor animals, anything. It could be anything. Right? So that's why we fear for UV. And where is this ultraviolet radiation emission? Ultraviolet radiations holes are being present. It is said near to the poles. कोई मुझे बता सकता है poles पे क्यों है? Why is it only poles? Why not at the equator? You might have heard that the ozone hole, which is also called as the UV radiations, are able to reach that part of the surface of the earth directly. Now why? Especially it is happening at the polar region, and that too in the Antarctica. ठीक है? Why? Yes? Formation of methane gas? No. आप सब ने क्रिएट किया ये. कहीं ना कहीं इस क्लासरूम में जो एसी चल रहा है ना, क्लोरोफ्लोरोकार्बन्स. ठीक है? द मेजर रीजन इज क्लोरोफ्लोरोकार्बन्स और हाइड्रोक्लोरोफ्लोरोकार्बन्स. Either you use chlorine or fluorine. These gases which are there, they go into the atmosphere and they mix with this ozone. So basically, if you look into this ozone, as this ozone layer is there, which is present in the stratosphere, it has certain properties. It is like this. Let's consider this is troposphere and this is stratosphere. Stratosphere में you have ozone. Ozone is actually not present across the stratosphere. ठीक है? It is present only till certain height. Right? Only into the certain heights found between 10 to 50 kilometers and majorly present in few of the areas itself. Usually the lower part of the stratosphere itself it is present. The concentration is high in the lower part of the stratosphere. The measurement of the ozone is always done like this. Suppose if you take a column of air, and if you take a column of air, this is A column, this is B column. Where do you find more concentration? क्योंकि A में डॉट ज्यादा है तो इसीलिए concentration ज्यादा है. Now this concentration is measured with a units by the name Dobson units. मतलब how much ozone is left in a particular column of air. ठीक है? एक column of air में how much ozone is left, that is measured through a units called Dobson units, that is your DU. Right? Clear? Now, ozone is represented with O3. Now, what do you mean by O3? It is nothing but O2 plus O. In simple terms, oxygen, जैसे O3 is nothing but O3, मतलब ऑक्सीजन मॉलिक्यूल्स है. राइट? सो बेसिकली ये ओजोन को एक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक है. नाउ व्हाट इज द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ द ओजोन? इन द प्रेजेंस ऑफ द सनलाइट, this O3, that means during the daytime what happens is that if there is sun present, this sunlight, if it is hit on the ozone, O3 will break into O2 plus O. ये तो समझ में आ रहा है सबको? आर्ट्स वाले सब, everyone. O3 plus O, it will be split into. Now when this ozone molecules which is there, that means this particular imagine here what happens is that when the sunlight comes and hits, just imagine that if there is sunlight that is coming and hitting this molecule, it will start to split. ठीक है? Right? And here, जैसे रात होते ही it will convert into, during the night time the reactions will be back again it will convert into O3, right? This is the general characteristics of the ozone. But हमने क्या किया? You started to use AC. AC में कौन सा gases होगा? Cooling agents, not just AC, refrigerating agents कहाँ जाता है? These refrigerating agents are the one which you use in refrigerators, the one which you use in the form of AC, or cooling agents. कोई भी chlorine, cooling agents माना जाता है cool करने के लिए. Now that cooling agents are chlorofluorocarbons, या either chlorino या fluorino, which are having chlorofluorocarbons. So this chlorofluorocarbons, which is nothing but one of the, if the gas is leaked from your AC or your refrigerator, this gas will go into this part of the area, right? Now here it will start to react with chlorine. ये तो free molecule है, free मतलब ये अकेला है, ठीक है? This can go and bind with, right? Chlorine can go and bind with, this will go and bind with this fellow, right? अब रात हो गया, right? Now during the night time, this fellow do not have a company, so all of a sudden ये तो free radical बन गया. अब ये chlorine and oxygen got mixed with this. Likewise, this oxygen molecule, that means in simple terms, ozone hole is nothing but the breakage of the ozone, and the UV rays can easily pass through in the absence of the ozone and can reach the surface of the earth, right? So here our biggest issue is we have to take care of our chlorofluorocarbons, hydrofluorocarbons, ठीक है? इन सबको बैन करने के लिए, इन सबको कम करने के लिए एक प्रोटोकॉल साइन किया था, ठीक है? व्हाट इज दैट प्रोटोकॉल? मॉन्ट्रियल इन कनाडा, ठीक है? इन कनाडा में we have signed a protocol by the name Montreal. See, this protocol, what does it say is that you should not use chlorofluorocarbons या hydrofluorochlorocarbons, right? Chlorofluorocarbons, hydrofluorochlorocarbons, right? So this is what is you need to understand. This, I think I've taught to you in the climate environment, and for those students who have not completed their environment, it will be taught in the further classes, right? So this is something which you need to know. Let me show you. Look here. This is chlorine. What is this ozone? मतलब 3 molecules of oxygen, oxygen, oxygen. अब sunlight में एक oxygen हो गया, and sorry, 1 molecule of oxygen, and this is proper oxygen, O2. This went and binded with chlorine. अब see here. Basically, this particular reaction has broken the ozone. Now once the ozone is broken and it is binded with the chlorine, it will no longer be converted back into ozone. वैसे देखो, ये एक ओजोन मॉलिक्यूल है, वैसे ही एक और ओजोन मॉलिक्यूल होगा जिसमें क्लोरीन और ऑक्सीजन विल मीट, राइट? Or else there could be another oxygen molecule which is freely roaming, and this chlorine can go and bind with that So basically reaction गड़बड़ हो जाता है. In simple terms, you need to know that when the reaction of the ozone, which is naturally being done through the process of light, which is falling onto the ozone molecule, here entire ozone hole depletion happens. And ozone hole depletion is primarily happening in southern hemisphere, in Antarctica. Why? Why? Why is it more in southern hemisphere? अंटार्कटिक होल कहा जाता है ना, ओजोन होल इन अंटार्कटिका. बेसिकली कोविड में क्या हुआ था, दिस वी डिड नॉट जनरेट मच अमाउंट ऑफ कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड एंड अदर गैसेस, सो अल्टीमेटली द ओजोन होल इज क्लोजिंग डाउन नाउ. वी हैव साइंड दिस मॉन्ट्रियल प्रोटोकॉल इन 1980s. Since 1980s, majority of the countries have been told not to use these gases, and today we use minimal amount of different gases. These gases also we have to ban. Suppose CFCs we are going to ban, the chlorofluorocarbon gases which are used in the AC. जब भी आप in your home you look into the AC gases, the AC gas is R6 gas. ठीक है, R6 करके लिखा होता है, कभी AC के ऊपर देखना, you look onto the AC. Now these R6 gases are considered to be very dangerous gases. So over a period of time, if we have to move away from these gases, कौन सा ऐसा gases इस्तेमाल करेंगे फिर? Yes. Which gases are we going to use in the further time period? Hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons are the new gases which are going to use it. Right? Now why ozone hole in Antarctica only? I'll explain this in the further classes, not now, because you need to understand about clouds. अभी मैं आपको clouds समझाया नहीं है ना? So later on, I'll explain about the clouds and then you will understand the concept of ozone hole depletion. See, as the ozone is present in this part of the region, ozone actually traps the heat. ठीक है? Ozone heat trap करता है. So that's why you will see that in the stratosphere, the temperature increases. एक मिनट. Yes? See, this is called as tropopause. बेसिकली ट्रोपोपॉज मतलब ये जो एरिया है, in this part of the area the temperature is constant. ठीक है, the temperature is more or less constant here. Got it? So that's why it is called as tropopause. And once the stratosphere, on the top of the stratosphere, if you look into, there is another layer which is called stratosphere. कोई डाउट्स है यहां तक? So nowadays, R32 gases are used as a cooling agent, also known as difluoromethane. Yes, very good. Difluoromethylene. Yes, R6 gases and R32 gases are also used. Basically, the R group of gases. But we need not go too much into detail there. Just R group of gases याद रखो. R6 and R36 also. Prelims में पूछा जा सकता है. Right? Okay. Now this is what is with respect to stratosphere. Stratosphere helps in the harmful radiations which are being sent by the earth to stop it. And this ozone which is present here, if it comes to the surface of the earth, what happens? What happens when the ozone which is there, ozone can also be formed at the surface of the earth also. ठीक है? कैसे? Near to the ground, ozone is considered to be very, very bad. So basically, volatile organic compounds, if they are there. See, ground level ozone. Ground level ozone is also called as bad ozone. So the bad ozone is also called as ground level ozone, and this ground level ozone forms with a formula called ठीक है, NOx, VOx, that is heat and sunlight. This will lead to the formation of ozone at the ground. Right? So what is this NOx? Nitrogen oxides. ठीक है? VOC is volatile organic compounds. Can anyone give me an example of a volatile organic compound? Petrol, very good. Next. Huh? So basically, if you keep a product outside, anything that evaporates is called as volatile organic compound. Just a camphor, karpur. Karpur is a volatile organic compound. Petrol, it is also volatile organic compound. Diesel, and there are many gases which are there. They are volatile organic. So paints, smell आते रहते हैं ना paints में. That is also volatile organic compound. Now nitrogen oxides are nothing but anything that when you burn agricultural fields, what does it release? NOx, pollutant है. आप vehicle में burn कर रहे हो, you're burning the vehicle. ठीक है? When you burn the vehicle, again, the exhaust from that, this is also released. Basically a pollutant है. Now this pollutant plus volatile organic compounds in the presence of the sunlight, they will lead to the formation of the ozone. Right? Basically NO2 मान के चलो, 2 and O2 plus O. In the presence of sunlight, it will form ozone. Now this ground level ozone, what does it do? It will make you feel breathing difficult, and also plants, UV radiation will be coming directly. Respiratory problems होता है, आंख burn करता है. ठीक है? Acid rains, no. Acid rains का reason only to NOx and SOx. मतलब this will lead to acid rains, and sulfur oxides will lead to acid rains, but not others. PM 2.5 pollutant है. PM 2.5 जो है उसके अंदर, his question is, sir, PM 2.5 जो है नवजोत, see this PM 2.5 is one of the pollutant जिसका साइज बहुत छोटा है. वो ये भी हो सकता है, वो ये भी हो सकता है, कुछ भी हो सकता है. It can be one of the possibilities there. Right? So the more the heat that is present in the cities, and the more the vehicles that we use, and if there are industrial pollutants such as thermal power plants and other power plants. So एक layer बन जाता है, एक खिचड़ी होगा, and that खिचड़ी can be leading to the ozone formation. Usually this takes place in the China, London, China, Beijing, उस एरियाज में. दिल्ली में भी बन सकता है, बट द सबसे बड़ा अब तक जो बना है दैट इज लंडन ओजोन, ग्राउंड लेवल ओजोन. और फोटोकेमिकल स्मॉग सुना है? व्हाट इज स्मॉग? स्मॉग इज स्मोक प्लस फॉग, राइट? फोटो मतलब लाइट. केमिकल्स मीन्स certain kinds of chemicals are volatile organic compounds. Photochemical smog basically smoke plus fog जब mix हो गया, उसके अंदर कुछ chemicals add हुआ और sunlight. Photochemical smog plus NOx can lead to ozone. That is also possibilities there, right? Basically this is what is your ozone, ground level ozone, which is very very bad माना जाता है. It is not even good at all, right? You should always keep it in negative terms. So we'll stop here and tomorrow we'll continue with the rest of the layers, right? पढ़ के आना, जिसने नहीं पढ़ा please go back and read, and those who have read please go back and read the next chapter, right? NCERT में class 11 NCERT India fundamentals of physical geography, in that the chapters which I wanted you to read is climatology unit पढ़ना है आपको, right? We'll stop here and tomorrow we'll continue further. And any doubts which you have, you can drop a message here. Right? We'll see you tomorrow. Paints, deodorants, Munendra, very good. Thank you online.